You could join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First, the board will have a budget hearing. Call the budget meeting to order, and item number 2 is the budget presentation.
Okay, so I kind of already went over a lot of stuff last meeting,
Yeah.
most of this. So I'll kind of go over just the highlights. So for the rainy day fund for 2026, I have total expenses of $600,000, possibly out of that. And that's mainly depending on what we need to do with our sewer lines out here out front. That's kind of what that's earmarked for. So that heads up there. And then moving on to the debt service fund. So this fund, this next year, we're going to see quite an increase over last year's. So I have an advertised rate of 20.2184, so 21 cents, almost 22 cents for our debt service rate. Our net assessed value, I advertised at $1.1 billion. It's actually about 1.3, so I assume this rate should be lower than what we're advertising. But we have to do that because if there is a little, hiccup or something in there, I need to make sure I'm covered, and I can only get up to that 21.84 cents. But yeah, we do have a little bit extra coming out with the new bond coming, so that should dip then for 27 a little bit. Is what we're planning on. For the ed fund, I have total expenses of $14,524,705. I do have a transfer from ed to ops of $750,000 this year. Mainly because we were losing our lit money from that in 2 years, so I now moved our lit money into operations, so we can start to learn to live without that money that we've been living with, or we've had. So that's probably the highlights there in that. And onto the operations fund then. I have a budget of $7,718,746. Notes on that, the tax rate I have advertised at 0.4844. And basically the same thing as I just said with the debt service. I advertised higher on that too, so that will probably be a little lower than what is actually being advertised due to that net assessed value. But the net assessed value, I am going to see a cap loss of $279,200 this next year. So that does increase the rate as well a little bit from previous years. We usually don't see much in a cap loss, only maybe $50,000. So this is the first, 26 is the first year where Senate Bill 1 or SEA 1 will start taking effect. So that cap loss will start getting larger as we go. So anyway, don't have a whole lot else for you, except I went over a bulk of it last time. I hate to just rehash it, but I just want to make sure we got our advertised rates out there for that, and have such great news with our funding. But that's where we're at. So, if you have any questions about any of this,
I guess at some point somebody has to make a decision on repairing sewer lines that are already past their life expectancy. So unfortunately at some point we've got to take care of that. So
Choice, technically.
yeah, I know Jared's been doing a lot of work to try to mitigate that cost. So hopefully it won't be as much as what I have in here. I'm really hoping it's not.
Any idea when we're going to get it? Maybe you said it, or when we're going to know?
Not 100% yet.
It's going to be pretty intrusive to do that work.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of cutting up floors, and so it's going to.
Yeah, we got some of that.
When kids are not in the
Building, and
so.
then the lines outside. He's trying to run them, I think, a little bit more what west instead of southwest.
Right.
So we're trying not to go like through the the parking lot and stuff and tear that all up. Because that's a huge cost. So if we can run it mostly through grass and concrete, that'll help save a lot. I think they said we can tie into the lake that comes from the oxygen, if I remember right. So we can do that. That would definitely help our costs on that. It'll be a lot less. So it's just, yeah.
Do you think there'll ever be a time when the junior, senior high school is not worn up?
Someday. Yeah, I don't know. But when the building's 60 years old, it hasn't exactly been treated with love and care either. At least parts of it. So we're doing that now. And it's just
I know.
all at one time, though. It feels like it anyway.
You ever wonder about that?
I don't know what I'd do with all that extra time of not having to logistically plan around that kind of stuff. So it's all part of the experience.
To answer your question, as long as Jason there, for a long time. He enjoys it.
What would it be like to teach without hearing?
Yeah. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any more questions on the budget?
We've been going for a while.
Been talking about
got
for a
it.
while.
Yeah. So
Okay.
okay.
At this time, we receive public comments on the budget. Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the budget hearing. So moved. Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. The budget hearing is adjourned. We will move to our regular meeting. At this time, there would be considerations of agenda additions or deleting items, and there is none. So invitations to members of the audience to speak to items on the agenda. Seeing none. Communications, we have none, which takes us right to our collective bargaining agreement public hearing.
Yes, so we have come to an agreement. The base salary, we based on 4 different factors, so there's a total of $3,000 available to teachers for their increase if they meet all 4 factors. One of those factors is the instructional leadership of earning their early literacy endorsement, and that is required by law this year that we have that. So most of the teachers will not see the full $3,000 increase, but they will see the majority of it. We continue to cap the base pay at $75,150, but there is an exception to that by law. Our people who have that early literacy endorsement, their salary must be differentiated. So we cannot cap it. We have to make sure that they get that literacy endorsement. So their cap is a little different. They will be capped at $75,459. So that we need the letter of the law there. We are doing a one-time stipend for all teachers who worked with us for 120 days during the last school year. They will get a stipend of $550, and that is not added to their base. So that is a one-time payment. And I have December, but Melanie said that her goal is to have it in November. So, yeah. So new hire salaries, we meet the letter of the law, and then our year 0, our first year teachers will be at $45,000. So this is showing you the range of the salaries that we currently have in the district under this new agreement. So when we hire new teachers for the 25-26 school year, we will look at the people that already work for us, what their average salary for the same year's experience and degree is, and that will be the pay then that new person would come in at. Some other increases that were in there, we negotiated increases and restructuring of the ECAs. We increased the sub coverage, so when our teachers give up a prep period to cover in another class for us, we raised that from, was it $17.50 or $17? I can't remember, up to $25 now. We also increased the ECAs. We set those up a couple years ago differently, so they're based on an increment now. So all we have to do is kind of mention it in our negotiations, and then we can base it on the new beginning salary. So since we raised our beginning salary to $45, that then increased all of our coaching salaries by a little bit, and sponsors salaries. So things that we did not negotiate because they are not negotiable by law are supplemental additions to the base. So when I come to you to ratify the CPA, which is not what you're doing tonight, I'm just presenting on it. When you ratify it, I will also come with some motions for 2 degree changes that have happened, and that will be a supplemental addition to their base. And then we have 5 people that we hired this year that came to us with experience, and we want to make sure that they stay in line with the teachers that are at their same years and degrees. And so they will need an adjustment that'll be through a resolution and a supplemental addition to their base. So the total increase to the base for the teachers this year is $254,312. The ECAs is a total increase $18,107. The supplemental degree based that is added to the base for those 2 teachers comes to $9,000, and the one-time stipend total is $53,900. That doesn't add to the base for a grand total of $335,319. So teacher salaries, I want you to understand that teacher salaries will require 78% of our state tuition based on our AEM this year, which is much higher than the 65% that's required by law. LSC's investment in teacher salaries over the past 4 years. In 2022, we had a $217,000, almost $218,000 increase. That was the year, if you remember, we did the Fix 26, where I had to write out all that crazy language to try and fix those salaries. So those 26 fixes were almost $100,000 on their own. In 2023, the increase was $288,527.52. I'm not sure where this 52 cents comes from, but it's there. In 2024, the package was $217,000. And then in 2025, it's over $335,000. So that's a total of over $1 million that we have invested in increases for our teaching salaries over the past 4 years. And that is what I have to tell you about the CBA.
Okay, thank you. We will receive public comments at this time.
Real quick, I'll go ahead and speak on behalf of the LEA. Me and Sherry would like to express our sincerest thanks for everybody on the admin negotiations team for what, in our opinion, is a good CPA, and we appreciate all your fine work throughout. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a closing statement, or?
We had very productive meetings, and I'm not gonna say I look forward to negotiations, because that just doesn't sound right, but I know that it will be productive again next year.
So it's a pretty good crew.
Yeah, we do our best to come with a good offer at the very beginning, and we had good discussion, and it improved by the end, so
Yeah.
that was a good way to
It
go.
was good negotiations, for sure, so. Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the, public hearing for the collective bargaining agreement.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor, motion carries. We are now moving on to reports, the superintendent's report now.
Okay, so as always, here I am with Lakeland by the numbers. It also happens that this would be our October 1st ADM count. So it did change as we were reviewing. We had one student there was a discrepancy with, but I think we're all fixed now. So I think it's actually 1409, if I remember right, or was it the 1410?
I think it is.
So somewhere in there, I have a student I didn't account for in there, but. So we are at 1409, which is a difference of actually 3 from last month's count, which isn't too bad when you look at our whole history of our counts. So we are 24 with that other student, down from where we were at the end of the 24-25 school year, which I don't like that number, but it's still better than the number that I had predicted. So we're 7 up from where I thought we would be. So I'm going to call that a win. Okay, and then Kim is going to present a little bit on LPS and their behavior. Rob and I went to the ISBA conference, and one of the things they talked about there a lot is that your board meeting should be 50% or more about your students. It shouldn't just be your business. So you're going to see in the next months, we're going to try and bring more people in to talk more about what our students are doing at Lakeland. So Kim gets to kick it off.
Good evening. I have graphs up there regarding our behaviors that we've been collecting over my 4 years as principal. The blue are referrals, the red numbers are holds that have to be done, and then suspensions is the yellow. And we're just gonna focus on our August and September numbers in each of those. Most importantly, just the last 2 years, including and then this year. So we've had a significant drop in office referrals this school year compared to the last 2 years. In 23-24 referrals for August and September, we had 19 and no suspensions. In 24-25, we had 17 referrals and 3 suspensions. And then this fall, the referrals, we only have had 5 between August, a combination of August and September, and no suspensions. So whenever numbers change, it always gives you thought as to why, whether they're changing for the good or changing for not so good. So the next slide just helped me to also relay that onto the board and the community of what is making the difference in these changes. So we're continuing on with our conscious discipline, helping regulate students and ourselves in high moments of big emotions. Some of that looks like breathing, some of that looks like noticing the behavior and naming it for the child or the feelings that they are having at the time. Once they are more regulated, that's helped us to be more proactive, so we're continuing that. We also have been using the conflict resolution map in conscious discipline. It's called Time Machine. So that just basically puts how you want to repair the relationship between the two that are having a conflict, and helping support giving the words to the kids so that they can help work it out, so with less adult support as needed when an adult may not need to be the leader, that the kids can do that. We've also increased our small groups with our counselors. So Mrs. Metzger is talking about brain states with kids. Like if your brain is in survival mode, you can't hear everyone around trying to help you. And it's more of a fear tactic. You're going to your primal instinct. So getting the kids to, again, just name that and understand what it is. So when they are in those states, they can shift up to the others. Recognizing and naming feelings is also something that she's doing as well. Another initiative that I'll talk more about in my full presentation, March, April, May, is our Walk to Read program. The students are being instructed at their level, so they've taken reading placement tests, and the kids are basically divided out among the grade level teachers. We've included the special education teachers for the co-teaching model, and then also our ML teacher and para, and our title paras, our title teachers. We call it the title trio because there's 3 of them. So we've noticed that the kids are getting individualized instruction, or more differentiated instruction, I should say, in a classroom setting. We've noticed the kids are less frustrated. So if you're less frustrated, you're able to learn and not get upset. And then there's also on the other end opportunities for our students to receive a challenge. So again, just kind of matching them from the Tier 1 instruction where they need to be instructed at. Co-teaching, I mentioned, that's where our special ed teachers are pushing into the classroom with the gen ed teacher and doing a co-teaching model. So then they're being supported in classrooms during the reading and math class. All of this takes time. So we've talked about our interventions, trying different interventions, recording those interventions, and determining if they've worked for the student, rinse and repeat all the time. Testing, if we do have to go through testing for the students, or if the student has to go through testing because interventions haven't worked, again, that process does take up to 50 days. But we found doing a lot of these preventative things have decreased our numbers that we don't need to do further testing or identify the students. That's it.
Can you go back to the numbers again?
Yeah.
So you only had 3 in September, and is that like? I was trying to do the comparisons for the other years. I didn't get a chance to look at
Guess you
them.
put it in like 20, 40, 60 instead of,
Yeah.
and that one was 1,
Yeah,
2, 3.
I tried to change that scale, and when I did, it squished the bars
I'm-
clear down to nothing on 25, 26.
I noticed the same thing. It was like she said it was down, and I'm
Yeah.
like, why is that up so much higher?
Yeah, because the scale is.
So
it
that's a
adjusts the
significant,
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
significant drop.
Yes.
So let's hope that trends the rest of the school
Yes.
year. For sure, it's a good start, right? It's a very good start. Thank you.
Okay, and to continue focusing on our students, Alexis is here to talk to you about some testing.
Okay, so Dr. Blaze approached me and said, I think I want you to bring some data to the next board meeting and kind of share what is going on in our district. So if you look at this one, this is our I-Learn percentages. And what I did was in the first column, you'll see the year, the school year. In the second column, if it says both proficient, that means how many of our students are proficient on both reading and math on I-Learn. And then you'll see our state rank. So what I did was I took the whole corporation aggregated score and I kind of ranked us in the state, and that is where we fell. Currently in our state, Brownsburg is number 1 in all areas, and that's in Carrie Rosebrock, who's our PLC coach, that's where she came from. So we're working with some of the best too to improve these. But if you look, we have had some increases, as of course, not increases, but decreases in our state rank. But also that's a good thing because you want us to be lower. Of course, we're not anywhere near where we would like to be. Dr. Blaze asked if I was okay after I did the rankings, and I said yes, I'm fine, because we are making significant improvements, especially in our math scores specifically. You'll see we've dropped, went from 268 to 258 just in this past year. So I mean that's a significant improvement. So again, this is just for I-Learn. If you go to the next slide. So then this one's a little bit more, has a lot more information. So on this slide, this is all the school years of us compared to the state, and it goes by grade. So what I did with this one is the colors are actually the cohorts. So if you start at 3rd grade, that pinkish color, you can follow them to their 4th grade year and their 5th grade year to see how they're doing. So they tested in the 48% proficiency in 3rd grade. They went to 30% in 4th grade and 28% in 5th grade. So they kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. We're going to get them back on. Our 3rd graders in 2024 were at 50%. Our 4th grade teachers held them strong. And in math, they were at 51% proficient. So they're doing a really good job there. So you can see like that. So the colors kind of show you the cohorts and how they've done over the years, along with how the state has done also. This one is the same kind of chart for ELA. Same kind of scores. You'll see our 3rd graders from 2023, they're now 5th graders. They've actually increased their scores quite a bit. Our teachers have done a really good job there. Across the board, that 4th, so they would be our current 6th graders, struggled a little bit this past year, so they're now our 7th graders, so we're really watching them to see how they're doing. But again, just another way to look at the data, see how they're doing, see who's proficient, who's approaching, who's below. You can hit it again. Okay, so then this is our SAT ranking. So the SAT became required 2 years ago. So in 2023, you can look at what our percentage was for EBRW is for English, and the math percentage for proficiency, and then you'll see our state rank for those also. Again, we've made significant jumps in those. Our junior senior high team is working very hard on our SAT scores. They're working with SAT style questions. They're trying to put them in their tests daily. They're doing a daily question. We're constantly looking at the data of the kids, trying to figure out how we're going to get them at an even higher score. So I mean, we jumped from, especially in both things being proficient, we jumped from 209 to 182. So significant jump there.
We jumped rank, but our percentage dropped 2%.
Right,
So
but so
let's
does the
say-
state. The state also dropped significantly. The actual math SAT, one of probably the smartest students I've ever met said there were questions on there that she's never seen in her life.
So I think that the math is significantly harder. I don't know how long Indiana's going to contract with College Board because we are having that issue across the board of where our students are not performing on that math SAT, no matter how hard we work it. So yeah, across the board, the state fell.
Remind me how many districts again, out of how many districts?
378.
378.
And that includes charter, or it includes any accredited charter schools and non-public schools.
What's the spread between number one and us?
The spread of proficiency. That makes you. I'll have to go back one. Yep. That is not one I was ready for. I'm so sorry. That was not a question I was prepared to answer. Good one, Kara.
We'll wait.
I can run back to my desk really fast.
Alexis,
Yes, ma'am.
that's a lot for my little brain that doesn't do numbers very well. Is there a way that you could maybe send those charts to me
1,000,000%.
so I can look at them a little more
Yes.
closely?
I would gladly.
Thank you.
Could you exit your presentation and then you enter it in the past? Because I updated it so I think you put it up. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Thank you. Okay, go ahead and hit the button. Okay. So then, this is our iRead scores. So iRead is probably one of our biggest successes that we've had. So since I took this position, the first year when I arrived, we were at 69.9% proficiency. Now we're at an 82.8% proficiency. We've jumped from the 293 to 266 this year. And it's just, our teachers have worked really hard. Our second and third grade teachers specifically, our K1 are getting them ready to be at that level. So I'm really proud of our third grade team and our second grade team and everyone there down. So that's a really significant jump. So something that I'm excited about that nobody else probably is excited about, but I'm really excited about it, is this year we have a new family portal. We don't specifically, but the state is offering a family portal so that all our families can get in and look at their school reports or their student reports. So this is what they're going to look like, especially those of you like Derek. I know like when you get yours, they're going to look a lot different. So they'll have a percentile ranking. They'll have a prediction for the summative. So this is the first year they're going to have predictability from the I-Learn checkpoints. Because remember, now we're on the checkpoint system that we get 3 times a year, plus a summative in the spring. So now we have a prediction scale where they'll be able to tell us if they're on track or like what level they're going to be at on the summative. So that's exciting. And then they also have the overall performance. Again, we're still doing the below, approaching, at, or above. Can you hit your button? So then you'll get a full narrative on what you can do to help your student, like how they're already doing, what they're able to do, and what you can work on with them next. This is also going to be really vital for our teachers, so that way they can use this to hopefully pull some small groups together and work on raising those scores as well. This year, the checkpoints are also computer adaptive, so that's kind of what this report shows. Again, this is what parents will receive. It'll show you what standards they were tested on, and then if you look in like where the bar chart is, that tells you how the student did in those areas. So, for example, this student was given 3 questions in the below level, and they answered all of them correctly. They had 100%. In the yellow level, they were given 5 approaching questions. They were able to answer 80% of those questions correctly, and then and so on. So it actually tells you exactly where the student struggled or where they did really well. So then, as a teacher, then you have to go into there, and you want to look at a 67% is where you start instruction. So since this student is in between that 80 and 43, you would start at the at because they're not at 67% yet, and that's where you instruct them at, is at the at level. So, yeah. And then this is the final page. This is also for parents and for the teachers. So this has all the standards that are tested, and it tells you how the student did on each individual standard. And it has the key at the bottom as to how they did on the standard too. So everything is item level data, which is what we're really excited. I mean, I'm really excited about it again. I'm super excited about it.
You can narrow in on where they can improve.
Yes, it'll be a lot more data. So last year when we signed up to do the I-Learn checkpoints, they only expected roughly 50 schools to sign up to do them, and they ended up having 1,200 schools sign up to do it. So the state team of 6 people really struggled last year because we all had all these ideas and all these questions, and They just weren't able
You
to
mean
help
somebody at
us.
the state struggled?
Oh, they struggled hard. Yeah, I know.
Bad.
Only 6 people, so I felt for them. I really did feel for their team because it was really hard for them, but they did a really good job with these reports, and so we're really excited. We take our first checkpoint in November, so at November board meeting, I should have results for you on how we did on those. So that's all for me.
That's it.
How are we communicating that parents can use the iLearn?
They're gonna get a letter right before checkpoints because you get an access code specific to your student.
Okay.
I didn't want to send them home early because I, as a parent, would lose the paper.
Sure.
So I just wanted to make sure, but I can reset the codes too. So if a parent does lose the paper, we can just reset the code and they can get a new one. But they'll get a letter home.
Okay. Perfect.
And then in that letter, are there resources they can then go print off or whatever? it is?
So once they get into the portal, yeah, they can print off the student report. I don't know how many resources they have. They kind of showed us a little bit of it. It just went live on September 22nd. And so my own children haven't taken the checkpoints yet, so I haven't been able to look at it myself. But I don't think they'll have as many resources, but they can then go into the learning lab and use the parent portal there that has all kinds of resources for that stuff.
Great, thank you. A lot of good information there. All right, treasurer's report.
Okay, all right. So at the end of September, we're at 75% of the year. In the Ed Fund, we've collected just a little over $10 million, or 76.35% of our expected funds. In the Operations Fund, we've collected $4.6 million, or 64.2%. And then expenditure-wise, in the Ed Fund, we've expended $10.4 million, almost $10.5 million, or 79.2% of our revenue budget, or 68.34% of our expenditure budget. In the Operations Fund, we've spent $6.1 million, 74.5% of our expenditure budget, or 84.7% of our revenue budget. You'll see some more red on here. I can't help that this time of the year with the way our revenue comes in the ops fund. I will say that I do have a few more expenditures to come out this year yet. I have kind of put the kibosh on spending from here on out, unless it's already been something we've, had planned and coming. So our expenditures we should be getting to a point where you won't see that so much, outside of obviously payroll stuff. And then, so to the graphs, we've, you can see where we're at there. I don't know what's going on with our insurance trust, but we had another month where we did not get our September bill until just a couple of days ago. So the September bill has not been paid for that. So that does take a chunk out of our benefits for the month-to-date benefits on that. So that's why you'll see like 5% in our operations fund and only 14% in our ed fund on benefits. So it's $200,000 or so between the two. Yeah. So yeah, it's a big number, and it does take a huge chunk though out of that. So you'll see double that now for October, as long as we actually get the October bill in time. You'll see kind of what happened, I think, with July and all. It happened with July and August, the same thing. So
Can we blame Eric? Angela?
No.
no.
I mean, I guess we can, but.
So anyway, that does kind of take it just hurts, I think, for reporting because it doesn't really show the actual numbers. Okay. Are there any questions?
Is there any questions? All right, I don't have anything for the school board president's report at this time. We'll move right to number 1 of new business.
Well, unfortunately, I am here again to recommend discontinuing the gymnastics program. We began advertising for a coach in the spring. We did not have any applicants. After our July board meeting where we had discussion about the program, we reposted the position specifically asking for gymnastics coach. We we did it wide and far as we can. It was on Nimble, I believe it was on Indeed, we posted it on Facebook, and it was shared widely on Facebook, one of our most shared posts, actually. We did get we ended up with 4 total applicants in this process, but none of them actually submitted their application. They all started applications. Mr. Yoder reached out to all of them. Some said that they were no longer interested, some never got back to him. So at this time, we still do not have a coach. We met with the parents on September 8th, and we explained the situation as it was. We set a deadline of October 1st and stated that we would come to this meeting either with a coach to hire or with a recommendation to discontinue the program in order to give the girls time to decide if there was a different sport that they wanted to get involved in, since this would be here. Mr. Yoder still has the option to reach out to Angola to see if some of our students can compete with them. This does not take us out of balance as far as Title IX is concerned. Since we had added girls wrestling, we're actually 1 over in our girls sports. So I guess the boys get suing, saying we're too many girls sports, but this would put us back in alignment as far as that goes. So at this time, I'm recommending that the board approve dissolving the gymnastics program and asking permission for the athletic department to sell the equipment with profits going into the athletic department funds.
I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. We have a second. Is there any discussion from the board?
I have a little bit of a discussion. Many years ago, when Miller girls were athletes, I was in the position of the girls' AD at that time. And then when they left that position and became coaches, I was still in that position as the girls' AD, and how many years? 28 years?
Several, let's say several.
28 years. None of us, including myself, wanted it to come to this point, but unfortunately, gymnastics is not something that you can learn from a textbook. You've got to have somebody that knows what's going on in that position. And nobody came forward. But what I really want to say is to you and your sister, don't feel like you abandoned the program.
This is not your fault.
It's not your fault. We resurrected the program many years ago because we thought we didn't have a coach, and that's when you girls, stepped up and took over. And I know it would be real easy for both of you to think, oh man, all those years, and now we don't have anything, and if we could just start, don't think that way. You put your time in, you did what you needed to do, we're grateful for that. It's just unfortunately one of those things that happened. And I'm not happy about it. And I don't think the rest of the board really was happy about it either, really. Thank you for all of those years. Lots of good memories, lots of kids that you've touched and will continue to touch as they knock on your door or see you downtown, and they'll say, "Do you remember when?" And you'll go, "What? That happened?" So,
Thank you, Sue. Well said. I appreciate that. Is there any other discussion? Yeah, I also don't like to take anything, take away or not provide another opportunity for students. That's the last thing that this board wants to do. But I feel like we've are left at a point where we have no other choice. So we tried. I do want to say I appreciate the due diligence that I feel like Ryan did, calling all the applicants, the coaches, some former coaches, trying to find someone. I thought everyone tried really hard. Even the athletes tried. everyone did do their due diligence to try to find someone and save the program. So I appreciate that, and I don't like to do this, but I think this is where we're at. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor? Motion carries.
Is there any open discussion?
Well, I mean, we had that option before,
Agreed.
but if you would like to, go ahead.
I agree. I really didn't want to be here for this again.
Right.
I feel like I can speak on behalf of Ms. Keenan. You really got me. I'm sorry.
That wasn't my intent.
I feel like I can speak on behalf of our gymnastics family, and our hearts are heavy about it, and it hurts to be here at this point once again. We were very grateful in July for all the support that was here, giving us the extra time to find a coach. We did speak with many options. Thought we had one locked in over the last few weeks, and we found out last week had a job change and she couldn't do it. But since that week, we have had several inquiries, even here today, in response to Facebook posts, and we're speaking with a couple of them. And ideally, I would like to see it table until the season starts. I mean, it really does not harm anything to do that. We cancel meets, and it's meets canceled. It really does not take an effort to let it go until the season begins. What I would really hate is for somebody to come forward within the next 2 weeks and say, "Oh, no, I'm sorry, the opportunity is closed." And I get where we were in July. I understand that, I totally do. But ideally, I wouldn't see the harm in waiting until that season began. However, in addition, I would like to suggest an alternate proposal to what we have tonight. Take this season by season. Keep it open-ended. Don't be so quick to say, put a permanent stamp of termination on something. If a coach isn't found this season, approach it next year. We've all seen where we haven't had kids for, a freshman team. We haven't had enough for a JV softball team, and we have to miss the season. Come back next year, we have enough, so then we do it again. We've all seen that happen over the years as we, see kids kind of decline as far as, participation and things like that. In this instance, obviously, it was a coach and kids. But I would just ask that you take it as an approach to look at it from season to season and keep it open, and let that be something that makes Lakeland unique, where we try to keep programs going where we can and sets us apart from other schools. And instead of, closing down an opportunity permanently, keep those opportunities of possibility open, instead of closing them permanently and putting a stamp of termination on it for, indefinite. And I would just like to see a revisitation, even if coach wasn't found by season start.
Okay, thank you. The board has already voted on this.
And there is a process to bring new
Something
sports
back.
Yeah, so there would be a process to follow if we had enough interest in the program.
Is it possible to wait on selling the equipment the next couple of months until if you say you have people applying or wanting to apply or something? I don't know what those, but is it possible to not the equipment at least until the season starts, or?
Just take up storage space. Poor Ryan, never any space.
All right, we'll move on to item 2, temporary speech language.
Stephanie is here to talk to you about that.
I got 3 outside agencies for our speech. We did post it. We tried to find somebody internal. We have been looking since summer to fill our maternity leave for Alyssa Bryant, who is on maternity leave already, and she'll be gone until March 1st. This is kind of a specialized position in the fact that they do Medicaid billing, which is another revenue income for us. So it requires somebody with a special license. So we did have to look at outside agencies. We did 3 different agencies, and Stepping Stone Group is the lowest on the list, and they did find us a candidate this week. I interviewed them, and we would like to recommend Sarah Gillespie to fill this position. We did get it down to, instead of a full-time position, which we have Alyssa for, getting it down to 2.5 days so that we could cut the cost in half, because that would have been significant. So we're just asking the board to approve the 2.5 days for her to be able to work through the maternity leave.
So you're actually approving a contract with a company for her. We're not technically hiring her. as a
Yes.
employee.
No, if there's $80 an hour.
Probably about that, yeah. It's expensive.
I checked with somebody who is on a long-term maternity leave from Westview, and somebody local in the area. She's charging $200 an hour just for her private practice. We asked her to come in for this, and that was pretty expensive. So while this does seem pretty high, the other alternatives are also just as high.
I'd entertain a motion to approve item 2.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. 3 is an administrative leave.
Yes, we have an employee that needs to be placed on administrative leave, so we need to approve that.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion does carry. And then item 4 is a termination. You all can see that. Anything on that?
Unfortunately, sometimes things just don't work out, no matter how many chances we give, and this is one of those cases.
Entertain a motion to approve 4.
So moved.
Rob has a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Kara, second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Item 5. These are employments.
Employment. So, one of these, I believe, is a correction from last year. We accidentally left Selena Kloppenstein off of our list of dual credit teachers somehow. So we owe her some money from last year's teaching dual credit classes. So we're getting that taken care of. Mr. Chaco here is going to be taking on the theater again, because he's not busy enough after football ends. So he's gonna have a good time with that. I can't wait to see what he does. So that's really the highlights there. We are hiring a student latchkey helper also, so it's always fun to hire our students for positions too.
Entertain a motion to approve 5 employments.
So move.
We got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Congratulations, Jason.
Auditions will be 2 weeks. There are some adult roles.
Fun.
Like to be involved.
Look at you.
I'm in.
We got the rights for You Can't Take It With You.
Oh my gosh, I was in that.
Okay.
I'll let you know what auditions are.
Go check out that earbud. I don't remember any of the lines. Okay.
All right, we'll move on to 6. These are transfers.
Yes, we have some parents that are shifting into substitute roles, and we are introducing a swing shift custodian at junior senior high to try and be more efficient.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Transfers are approved. 7 are resignations.
resignations for a couple of coaches and the high school theater director, so that we can
Alright.
hire Mr. Shepherd.
Short.
That was quick.
So entertain a motion.
So moved.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? No. All in favor? Motion carries. We have the consent agenda left.
So within the consent agenda, I just wanted to highlight some donations that have come in. Winnebago of Indiana has donated to purchase a canopy for our cross-country and track teams. And Miller Super Value has donated the proceeds from the Lakeland gas pump.
I will say that I was at Huntington, like a couple weeks ago when they were there, and I was looking everywhere for their tent, and I'm like, there it is. So the tents are spotted,
All
and it
right.
had our old logo. So
Right.
this one will have the
This will have the new
new
logo.
logo on it. So when you're at a meet like that, you look for the tent. So entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Public comments. Persons wishing to make the board aware of suggestions, ideas, and comments may address the board at this time. Comments which involve personnel or students must be discussed in private. Seeing none, board member comments. You want me to mention it? Or no?
I forgot to
Oh.
change the date on the
Okay.
calendar review on that slide.
So, yeah, our next meeting will be, October
22nd.
22nd. Here, so this is the month where you have two meetings. So, see you guys again soon. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And motion second, all in favor?